Hi, everybody. I'm Sami from Fusion Presents.
I'm Myles from Fusion Presents.
Fusion Presents is a company that I started in 2002 with two other guys, Mo Halaby and Gish. And and then we moved out here in 2004, and we've been operating out of BC since then.
Crazy. Nice.
Fusion Presents, yeah.
So what kind of stuff do you guys do?
Well, we are a music and media company, and our motto is helping artists do what they love. So we kind of take artists from basement to stage type of thing, and we help them create amazing content as well for TikTok and YouTube and other places, and of course develop their songs.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
So big focus on music education and also content creation. Those are kind of the two bridges. And then we also write music as well.
yeah, we've got a house band called The Apartment.
Nice.
And it's essentially, I mean, Fusion Presents, the name Fusion Presents is the fusion of talent presents the art. So it's all collaborative based. So our band, The Apartment, for example, it's who's visiting the apartment, whoever's in the apartment creates the song together.
Cool.
So it's been what, 19 years now since this thing has been,
Well,
you know,
obviously it's probably
existing.
changed. Like, I mean, with how like marketing has changed drastically with
Absolutely.
TikTok and shit like that.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, the biggest change really happened recently with
Last
COVID.
year, yeah.
Yeah.
We did a Sunday night jam, which was like every single Sunday at a place in White Rock called West Beach, and it was essentially we had a full backline of equipment, and we'd invite all these different artists, especially artists that we'd developed, to come and grow their live performance skills or whatever. And we did that for 10 years. And then COVID hit March 14th. And we were also running a whole bunch of different live music venues. And then, March 14th, we're like, okay, we're just going to shut everything down because we don't want to be, promoting the spread of this thing. And literally March 15th, the call was, we're going to take everything online. So all of our classes, our music classes with students, and our Sunday night jam became a virtual thing. And now we're reconsidering whether we're gonna keep doing the Sunday night jam because hopefully live venues are opening up again. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
Because before COVID, like live entertainment was like 80% of
Of our
revenue.
business, yeah.
So like that was like the main arm
Mm.
of what we were doing. And so as soon as like the hammer came down with COVID, and we were like, oh wow, like we kind of need to shift. So that's why we opened with music education and content creation, because we really over the last year have had to kind of pivot to cater to a more online digital environment, and helping artists through this as well, because with artists not being able to play shows, not being able to network at certain things, like how do you get yourself out there? That's all through social media nowadays, and especially with a platform like TikTok where the organic reach is just crazy. We just kind of saw an opportunity that is still early, like still a lot of people aren't really realizing the potential that TikTok has. So putting a lot of our eggs in that basket. But yeah, it's been interesting to navigate without live entertainment. But we've been getting calls for gigs and stuff recently.
we've booked like 6 or 7 already.
Yeah.
Especially our corporate clients and our private clients are back. But just to that, you just reminded me of something. You actually came to me in December of 2019 and was like, dude, TikTok. And this is the future. We have to shift to, becoming a media company. And he introduced me to Gary Vee
Yeah.
in December of 2019. So when we went to NAM, we started with, we both bought, iPhone 11 Pros.
Well, and NAM is that's a music convention down in Anaheim where like companies booths, just some context.
Right. So we're there with one of the artists we work with, Ayla Tesla Mabe, who just released a song with Willow Smith called
Nice.
Come Home. That's great. So we're down there at NAM and we're filming all these things and starting to put our stuff on TikTok. And then, we get back 2 months later, 3 months later, COVID hits. But we kind of had like 3 months of dipping our toes in, okay, we have to shift to become a media company. And we're like, okay, let's just go online and just start doing it. And we have, we've grown on YouTube. We've doubled our subscribership. We're so close to being able to monetize at 1,000. We're like 957 right
Nice.
now, but like our TikTok, we just hit 10,200 or something
Wow.
followers.
Yeah, no, we're just starting to use TikTok here just because I'm in my 30s and it was hard for me to get behind for the longest time. And I think like once you like the apps I've been using for years, Instagram started ripping them off with the reels and just like it's like and everything is going that way. Where
Yeah.
it, it's crazy. Like the people that I'm seeing are seeing some of our videos. Like, yeah, we're a co-working space in Port Coquitlam, so we want more of a local reach.
Mhm.
But like, there's people all around the world that randomly just see our shit,
Yeah.
and it really doesn't make sense, their algorithm in a way. Like some of the videos I see too, like I'm like, how does this show up? It's not even viral.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, basically how the algorithm, or I mean, no one knows how it truly works, but there's a couple of like inklings, and from what I've seen from like research and just seeing other people is that essentially you post a video, it goes to a like a test audience or like a group of small people. And if it performs well with that, then it gets shown to a bigger group. And then it gets shown with that, it goes to a bigger group. And then it just compounds that way. So that's what I've heard. So to your point about saying like, where is all this engagement coming from? In terms of like geographical location, like I have no idea, but it looks like it's a compounding effect. So it's like, okay, small audience, if it doesn't do well, then it's just like, okay. But then there's some videos that do well like 2 days later. So it's completely wild west still.
Mhm.
And
I
like
think the
to a
whole
certain extent.
hashtag things, obviously helps it out. I mean,
Yeah.
you've done a bunch of research on which hashtags you should use, and I mean, you speak to it because what are you saying? Like, use like huge hashtags that everybody uses, like trending hashtags,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then some, and then so high level.
High level, mid level, and then like your niche. So like
Yeah.
for instance, for like Fountainhead, you would have like working space as like your high level, and then like your mid level might be some like one of your rooms, like green screen room, and then like a real niche one could be like Port Coquitlam,
PoCo.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Something like our PoCo.
Tri-Cities PoCo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, we do a lot of stuff to go back to your original question.
Well, and like I mean, like you said, you've what seven events booked since COVID. Kind of they lifted a bunch of restrictions.
Right.
Do you find it's still kind of just like you're weary of them, just because like I know when last summer when I know it was still fresh, but they started lifting a little bit of the restrictions and like events were allowed to happen again. Not like the big events, but just smaller. Like we wanted to have events here, and we were allowed to. And all of a sudden, Bonnie Henry comes up stage and shuts it all down again. And you've already spent all this time marketing events and all, like doing graphics, videos, promotion, all this stuff. Luckily, we're doing it ourselves here. Not like outsourcing, because that would even suck even more if you're paying people to be like doing all this like basically marketing for you for an event that can't happen anymore. Is that you guys still feeling like that's why you're kind of staying virtual still, like really going heavy with that?
Well, I mean, the way our company works is that all the musicians that we hire are all subcontractors, right? So nobody's really an employee. So everybody's kind of in the same game. Everybody's a company who's trying to go and get a gig. So if somebody has, for example, we have a show booked on Gabriel Island in mid-August. If something happens from now to then, and we have to shut the show down, all of the people that are involved in the band who are putting on that show are going to be affected in the same way, type of thing, So it's not like, yeah, we feel bad for the fact the loss of work for us and for the people the subcontractors, the musicians that we're hiring, but it is what it is, kind of thing. And especially having gone through it, our expectations, like, it could happen, right? So it was, as Myles said, 80% of our business, and then it wasn't. So we're like, okay, we totally shifted. So all of our lessons now are online. All of our for example, our songwriting focus, our collaborations with other artists, we can do that, virtually with people. We can have a few people into our, our studio at the apartment, up to like 5 people or whatever, to be COVID safe. And that's what we're focusing on. So we're releasing a whole bunch of music soon, and YouTube videos, and obviously our TikTok. We have a lovely contract with a local company in Abbotsford called Musora. We're helping them develop a online guitar teaching platform for Guitario, with one of our artists, Ayla Tesler-Mabi. And so I mean, things are rolling. We're but we're not putting all of our eggs in the live entertainment basket anymore.
Not yet, but I mean, at the same time, it's just like super nice to have live music again, because I mean, if there's one thing that we truly love doing, because at the root of us, we're musicians, right? So having like, I don't think we're necessarily weary of the fact, especially with how things are going in BC right now. Just like, I mean, last I checked, we were like well over 70% of people had their first shot. And like cases are staying low, so I'm pretty optimistic, and I'm at the point where it's like, okay, we gotta get back to normal. Like we gotta, like things just gotta start happening again. But then the other side of it, like Sammy's talking about, like having lessons online, having songwriting sessions online, that's just like an increase in efficiency. That's just time saving.
Yeah.
Right. So, and I think that's happening with a lot of other places too, where you'll see like a lot of tech companies allowing work from home, even like finance and some law firms are allowing a lot of work from home. So. So weary, not exactly weary, but like just the virtual thing is just more of an efficiency type thing.
Yeah.
If you think about, for example, going to a student's class, let's say you have, the way I had it on Sundays, for example, is at 8 p.m. was the beginning of my show, let's say every Sunday at West Beach. So I would start teaching at around 1, and then I'd have to drive to another student and drive to another student, drive to another student. So you're wasting 1, a lot of time, 2, a lot of gas. And then when you get to the student's place, you know, until you actually get going with teaching them whatever, the class is kind of like 50 minutes or whatever, 45 minutes. Now, you know, you send them a Zoom link, they get on, all right, where did we leave off? We've got the camera switcher, we could show all the different angles, you know, right, left, aerial, and front. We can screen share our music theory book. We can record through Zoom certain exercises and then send it to the students. So it's like, from an efficiency perspective, it's incomparable.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah, I would prefer doing all virtual lessons from now on. You know.
Yeah, I actually, have you guys are saying you're using Zoom for a lot of it.
Yeah.
Have you heard of Sessionwire?
Yes.
Yes.
He's actually, Kevin, their address is here. Sessionwire's like official address is Fountainhead.
Oh wow.
Because Kevin Williams, who's from like, he started Nimbus. He lives in Poco, and he was sick of going downtown for everything. So he's like, once COVID hit, he was actually planning on having his location, like actually have staff here and stuff.
Oh, wow.
And then COVID hit, he's like, we're all working remotely, but it's from what I've seen it for musicians, it's absolutely outstanding what it is. It's Zoom, but actually the audio quality is made for, like, you can record all around. You have your whole band scattered across the world, and it sounds like a live perfection stream. Like there's no delay, nothing.
Yeah.
It sounds like audio quality from being in the same studio.
Yeah.
So yeah, and like I think he's got like Randy Bachman as an investor and stuff. So it's like big names, and yeah, you should check it out.
Is that what Matt DiPomponio
no,
is using?
that's a little different. This is actually Sessionwire. You can actually like record. So like,
Yeah.
for if it's Kevin Williams, if he's recording out of his like home studio or whatever, he can record a band in like
Brilliant.
East Coast Canada or Europe. I don't know the exactly what the
insane,
capabilities
yeah.
of it are, but I've heard of it. We actually looked at using it for Royal Oak, the band I play in, and I can't remember why we didn't. I think it was because there was like, I mean, it's obviously it's a subscription or some sort of there's some sort of payment.
But you also have to have, like, obviously all the mics and the setups and everything.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
so they're essentially patching into your audio interface.
Yeah.
You can like run I think all of your programs through it too. Like if you're running your like Logic, if you're running all of that, you can run it through. Yeah, it's pretty cool. My family in the music industry, my uncle's president of Network. So if you guys know Network, in the 90s they were huge, early 2000s. I don't know how much they're doing now with this, how hard it is as a record label to really make money. But in the 90s he was laughing.
Oh yeah, record labels now, I mean, they're in trouble because I mean you have these platforms like TikTok that are coming out where you have someone who makes a song in their bedroom and some influencer catches wind of it, makes a dance to it, and it's like top 10 Billboard charts, and it's just like that, and then they're a superstar overnight, and then they get signed to a big label, and then it's done.
Worldwide.
So, but small labels, like it's hard. Like it's either, I feel like being independent is a good way to go, which is like what I was saying to Sami. I was like, like a record label kind of model is great, but what if it was like focused more around content, which is kind of what we're trying to like facilitate. It's like, okay, how can we maybe not necessarily be a record label to these artists, but help them build their content and help them like shoot into the scene that way, sort of thing.
Because content is obviously key, right? Like if you have something that's that your audience is gonna, jive to or whatever. For example, 2 months ago, Myles goes and puts on this this loop on his TikTok. Nuclear explosion of how many views? How many views is that?
I think it's like 2.7 million or something.
Oh, wow.
It's
Right?
like crazy.
And like in 2 months, he gets 19,000 followers, new followers in 2 months. So it's like he didn't need, a record label or whatever to get him, 2.7 million views, or how many likes you had, like 400,000 likes,
something like
so
that.
that's
Crazy.
different people, right? Because you can't be the same person liking twice. So that's 500,000 different people who have liked that particular video and seen his face. So it's TikTok is the current, right? It's what can help artists.
I went to school for music production in like I think it was 07, 08. And my teachers were already like saying it's a do-it-yourself mentality of everything now, and that's like kind of what we're thinking here. It's like trying to build independent artists, independent workers, just people that need to learn pretty much the steps of like graphic design themselves, video editing themselves, filming their content in the green screen studio themselves, like do it yourself, because it's not easy, but it's easier than ever. So they should be taking advantage of it and not always outsourcing. So like the musicians are kind of they were before the curve. Like all the most successful musicians, like I'm a huge hip hop fan. All of them now are all independent artists. And I started with like guys, Mac Miller back in the day, like he was complete indie and made a huge success just through doing like Vine videos and and he got his own reality TV show. Like they've always been like before. They had the idea of doing this before because they had to. They got hit with the downloading illegally shit that they had to deal with. So it's like I have to make money doing this. Even I have friends that like you guys, events, touring, that was 80% of their income. Like local hip hop artists that are big on international levels that used to go to Europe for months and just kill it. And then they had to do that tour once a year, and that would literally pay for their year. Now 2 years without Europe
or anything.
What
are you gonna do?
It's
it's crazy. Like some of these artists, other than their merchandising, it's fair game. Like a tiny artist that has never toured, and the Rolling Stones. The only difference between those two people is the fact that the Rolling Stones have all this merchandise and branding, and they can do whatever they can do online and sell online.
Their catalog,
right?
Yeah.
I mean, okay, maybe the Rolling Stones is a bad example, but you know what I'm saying. Like it kind of leveled the playing field. This whole COVID thing.
Definitely, and it just goes to show, like as an artist, especially with what happens in the past year, like you have to like diversify kind of like yourself, like your income streams, like whether that's merch, whether that's like setting up a Patreon, whether that's overall just being like a media company, like almost being like an influencer of sorts as well, right? Because I mean, no matter what you do, even if you're a musician or not, you have to be thinking, okay, I'm also like a media company. Like I have a message to get out, and how am I going to get that message out? Especially in today's world, where attention, I mean, we're everyone's on their phones all the time, right? So you really need to learn how to utilize those platforms and how you can monetize those platforms as well, which is really tricky for a lot of people. So
it's very tricky.
It is.
I mean, and something that a little tagline that we came up with for Fusion Presents a few years back is it's all about the fish. And what does that mean? It means a fisherman doesn't go to the fish. Doesn't wait for the fish to come. A fisherman goes to the fish. So you kind of have to know who your audience is, and especially now when it's do it yourself, where an artist is a business and your service and your product, those are your songs and your live entertainment or whatever else. You have to know who's going to give a shit about. Can I swear on you?
Yeah, I do. All the time.
Okay, so you have to know who's going to. Nobody gives a shit, but sometimes they do. So you have to know what your audience gives a shit about. Do they give a shit? Do they care about what you have to offer? If they don't, then either change your fish, change your market, or adapt to what your audience wants, right?
Yeah.
And knowing, where they're going to congregate, where do they congregate? Are they on, Instagram? Are they on TikTok? Are they on Facebook? Like, obviously, if you're a young artist, you're not going to go to Facebook because nobody goes to Facebook anymore if you're not like 60 type of thing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So although a lot of 60-year-olds and whoever else are now going to TikTok.
Yeah.
It's also geographic, though. That's an
Yeah.
important thing. I mean,
That's
different
true.
parts of the world, like I think in India, it's like all Facebook,
Yeah.
right? So no matter what age you are. So it asterisk there. But I
There
mean,
is.
we're in the Western world here, so I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
it mostly Facebook
Yeah.
is the older generation at this
It's all about the fish. You got to know who your audience is.
Yeah.
If you're a media company, who are you speaking to? If your songs are a conversation, who are you conversing with, conversating?
Yeah, conversating. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
If
no,
you-
it's definitely it's exactly how life works in general. It's like it's who you know. It's kind of like if you know your audience, like who you know, not what you know, or it is what you know too.
Yeah.
But if you know who to market to,
Yeah.
if you do your research and like the hashtags, everybody always goes for the hot hashtags, and it's not always the case, especially if you are a niche space.
Exactly.
We actually get better, like if it's mostly to do with the Tri-Cities or something, we actually get more likes than if we market it as just like a video. Even though if it's our dog, which gets good likes, we get it better if it's like Poco in the background or something.
For sure.
Which is beneficial because, like you said previously, like that's your audience. That's where you're trying to sell the space to, right?
Yeah.
Or the memberships to, rather. So
We do want to change it to almost be like our own media company as well too. Obviously, with what we have here.
It's amazing, by the way. What
Thank
you
you,
have.
thank you. We feel, and I felt this for a long way, that business and arts have had to come together a lot sooner than it has. Where now, with things like TikTok and everything, these businesses that didn't need like an online presence that much now need it more than ever, and they have no idea. They're business people, they have no idea how to be creative. It's not a bad thing, but everybody's good at what they do. And so we were like, okay, well, if you make half this building, kind of market it to business entrepreneurs that need help in their arts and their marketing and stuff, have this side for that too, and then they can collaborate in-house together. It doesn't always mean money either. You have agreements together where it's like, oh, could you help me with this? I'll help you with this. And then teaching each other's work.
Yeah.
I think it's less cutthroat than it's ever been, where people aren't scared of competition, if that makes sense,
Yeah,
or
totally.
losing out on work if they're helping another person out doing what they do.
definitely.
Collaboration is key. I mean, just create content and put it out there, and then access each other's audience type of thing, and benefit from each other's audience.
It's
Why
true, and
not?
I mean, and we're really entering into a creator's economy, right? Where a lot of the people who are going to succeed as individuals are the people who put out content. So a lot of that is knowledge sharing, right? So a lot of people are just giving out these nuggets for free, and then I mean, you can maybe have a course off that or whatever. But you're right though, it seems like the competition has kind of it's down, but it's also up in a way. It's who can give out the most free stuff, almost in a way, at the same time, right?
And who's got the best things to give up?
Exactly.
Like quality content. That's interesting. It's like, what is quality? It makes you even think about what quality is. It's so
true.
subjective
Yeah.
because some stupid random thing that you film that's funny to some people and you just throw it on, it's totally lo-fi sort of thing, can resonate with millions of people on TikTok. So that would have been a quality post,
To some.
subjectively to them, so it's kind of like knowing your audience, knowing what they like, and just doing it. You just have to do it, right? Every day. What does Gary Vee say? The thing I remember when you sent me that,
Post 100 pieces of content.
100 pieces of content per day.
It's like, yo,
And,
chill out, man. Not everyone has a team of 100 people working their social media channels.
But the point is to just do it and to post it. We post at least every day, and if something has sort of caught, we kind of let it breathe out for 2 days. But every Thursday we get together and we film like I don't know how many TikTok 1 minute videos, and then we have this backlog of stuff so we can just keep on hitting the market. And another thing I wanted to say is, if you do know your audience, something that they say on TikTok, and I guess this just applies in everything, is be consistent, have a vertical that your audience, what they want, keep giving them that, as opposed to spreading yourself too thin, which is when we started, when Fusion Presents, it was like, we're gonna do it all.
Yeah.
And so it was like these massive unicorn dreams, but then reality keeps kind of humbling you, and you're like, okay, so here, let's just focus on this one thing. And now with COVID, it's like, okay, let's just focus on TikTok videos and helping people build their content and their online presence and be creative. And thankfully we're having great success in it. And
That's really good. It's that pivot you had to do like instantly, and that's where I think a lot of people either succeeded or failed when COVID hit. Is the people that were like stubborn and just thought they had all the time in the world to change. It's like, oh, we'll have a bad month. It's like, no, man, this is now a year and a half into it. It's still not normal.
Yeah.
So it's like, and you see a lot of the mom and pop businesses that didn't have their kids help them out because they didn't want anything to do with the business, or they're just too stubborn to get help with the younger generations that, like, especially like small restaurants and stuff that didn't jump on the DoorDash or skip the dishes bandwagon because they were like, no, I'm not giving a percentage of my money to these guys to do this for me. Screw that. And they're closed now because it literally became like 90% of businesses were these services that
and probably will continue
100%.
Like people are like, oh, I can watch my movie and have this food for the same price or less. And if they mess an order up, I can call and complain and get it for free.
Yeah. Oh, I get it all the time.
You know what I'm saying?
I get it all the time.
And it's legit, man. I don't know where I was going with that, but yeah.
It's very true. You can stay home and eat not just the typical pizza Chinese food, like the typical delivery foods that you would get. Now it's anything, any restaurant. You can get the pub food you liked that you would go with your friends. You can get that same pub food and just drink beer at home much cheaper. So it's gonna stick around, but I also think events and also just restaurants are gonna boom. There already are. We have members that service that industry, and it's just like they've been working 7 days a week since the restrictions were lifted in pubs and stuff. And it's slowly going back to that. We dedicated a whole lounge area for like events. Like we want that to be hosts of like just small like talent shows, open mic nights. We want to do comedy nights, just different kinds of like events in there every month. And then we were like, that's how you get foot traffic in here. It's like you get the people that are members bringing friends who might become members, and it's just that's our whole structure of our company. That's like what we planned.
Word of mouth. February
2020 we got the keys.
I know.
Had this whole plan.
February 2020.
I know.
Oh no.
Yeah.
But you know what? This I remember now. The point here is that when you're hit with a challenge, you can react two ways. You can be like, oh shit, I'm fucked, or there's an opportunity in there. And you guys dealt with it as an opportunity.
Definitely.
And we dealt with it as an opportunity, because I mean, as a music company, as this dream, I'm gonna be a musician, I'm gonna make it. Obviously there's so much ego involved in that, but then you're sort of humbled through time. So it's happened to me so many times. I'm like, you know what? No, there is an opportunity in COVID. And when him and I were discussing it, we're like, okay, how are we going to turn this around and actually help our business, right? You guys have done that, and I love what you've done with the place. You've invested so much money as well in the past 12 months, and now you have a full, beautiful green screen room that hopefully we can use. Which we will use. And anyway, so I'm really. Honestly, this place is really fantastic, and I can't wait to start working with it.
Thank you. We're trying, man. We like definitely had this vision, and like I think we're slowly starting to see it like finally come to fruition. Where it's like we had a lot of tours in 2020. We did a lot of tours, and yeah, a lot of them did become members, but a lot of them didn't because they would be like, "Oh, I'm just waiting for COVID to die down, and then we'll come back." And it's like all the fruits of our labor from last year are like slowly trickling in. Like people we haven't seen, people I didn't know I met them before because they were all wearing masks and they look different with half their face. So it's like, but they're coming back and they're remembering, and then our online presence has helped with that drastically just by posting stupid little like TikTok style videos of, that work. It works, and it just keeps people remembering who the hell we are, right?
For sure. Definitely. There's definitely a market. As you were saying, it's a creator economy. So.
Well, that's what I mean, right? Like the more people are going to be doing their own thing, selling their own knowledge, because that's what people are starting to realize. I mean, how many people got laid off last year, right? Like imagine if you were your own, like if you were, say you were like an investment banker and you had like you were like a CFA, like what's stopping you from starting up your own practice and giving people their own financial advice, right? And then that's where a space like this comes in handy, like perfectly. I feel like honestly, like February 2020, it sounds like a really shitty time, but honestly, with what happened, I feel like a lot more people are going to start turning to places like this because not everyone can work at home by themselves. And people are, like we said, this creator economy, people are going to need a place with a good vibe to work. Hence what you've built here. So
so a lot of people with families and stuff, there's no way, like we worked from home 1 month when it was like COVID, because we were opening this place up, but my family, like my parents, watch our kid during the day, and they both had like health issues, so it was like, okay, we gotta work. They can't watch the kid. We gotta stay home for a month, and we got zero work done with a kid sitting at home trying to work separately. We work for the same company. We're trying to do shift work. It doesn't work. It absolutely doesn't work. And some people can make it work from home. A lot of people can't. It's just you're sitting there doing your work. You look to the side. There's laundry. There's dishes. There's something. It's really hard. So like having it, like a place to go that's not so corporate-y too, because I'm telling you right now, like people in media, like any kind of arts, that's the last fucking thing they want is walk around in suits. Like they don't want to. So we've created this as like, you can wear what the hell you want. You could, if you are that type, you have business meetings, you want to rent the meeting room and you want to look professional, do it. But if a guy comes in here in flip flops and in his swimsuit and like a tank top and he's going to the beach after work, who cares? Like let them be. So it's more of a almost social club than it is like a work office, but you still can get your shit done. So it's I think a future of things, especially if you can't work from home. Man, we're companies that have shut down. I don't know if you guys live in the area. Okay, so like I lived in Maple Ridge up until recently, moved back to Willem, but from everything in real estate that we've seen, it's the whole people working from home that were living in downtown Vancouver, that were working in offices in downtown Vancouver, aren't working in downtown offices anymore, and they're like, I have this bachelor 1-bedroom condo worth $750,000. What do I do with it? Well, why don't I move to Maple Ridge or the Tri-Cities for that? I can buy a townhouse or something, right? So you're seeing an influx of people move out here, and it's being populated like crazy. But what happens now that the restrictions are lifted? Are they going to have to go back to work, or are they sick of working from home? Are they going to come to places like this? And I think a lot of places like this are going to be flourishing because you're going to get half the teams that are like, my house is not made for working. And then half of them are like, I love this. I can wake up when I want and pretend like I work 8 hours a day, but I don't.
You have the people that don't want to go back to the office necessarily. It's gonna be very interesting to see how like the next few months. I mean, I would say like even a year from now how it plays out. But definitely spaces like this are gonna be on the up, because I mean, office space like now is like people. There's some people like companies like Twitter and Google are like, stay home. We don't want you to come back. We're gonna sell off our residential space for somebody else, right? It's like you just have these buildings that are just amortizing over time, like just getting like depreciating in value. It's like, what's the point? Like,
it'll be really interesting to see once COVID can't be used as an excuse for like low numbers with companies and just like it's like, oh, people working from home isn't the issue, it's because it's COVID. But what if COVID slowly starts becoming more normal? It becomes more like it's around, but people have vaccinations, so it's more like another flu that we kind of get normalized to. When they realize like they're like everything's normal and the numbers are still down because they like sales reps working from home that said, oh, it's because COVID. And they're really like, oh no, you're only working 3 hours a day and you're playing video games the first half of the day.
Yeah.
And it's just like, they're going to see that more. And like, I used to work for people. Luckily, I'm not right now, but I used to. And I would never feel for a boss before now, because it was a time where bosses of companies either had to lay people off and get called dicks, or keep people on with all these restrictions could jeopardize their company because they're not making anything. So it's like it's shit end of the stick for both reasons. And then send people home, we get them to work there. Numbers are down, and if they all of a sudden say like, oh, hey, you like get to work, get better numbers, it's like, oh, but COVID.
Yeah.
And I really think you're still gonna get those people. Nobody hires completely good all the time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's gonna be a true. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people have seen the tests. I mean, some people probably flourished at home because I mean, there's some people that, like, I mean, let's be realistic. When you're in an office and you're working 8 hours, I mean, I've never actually had a 9 to 5 office job, but you're not getting 8 hours of work done. Like, there's no way you are outputting 8 hours worth of work, right? It's like, I mean, realistically, if you're working from home, you can pump it out in like 2-3 hours, and you still get the same amount that you would get done in a.
I mean, the whole idea of a 40-hour work week anyway
it's kind of broken.
It's old and it's stupid, you know?
Yeah.
You can actually, exactly to your point, be efficient, get her done, and your boss should be able to be like, just get her done. I don't care what you do with the rest of your time.
However, then there's the other side of the coin. We have the lazy people who free ride, right? So the people that maybe like just coast through that 8 hours in the office, and it looks like they got a lot of work done, but then when they're at home, it's like, whatever. I mean, who knows? It'll be super interesting to see.
Well, how people flourish in public spaces too. Like this place, we've tried to create it more. It's like for extroverts and introverts. Like, it can work for either. You can close off yourself if you don't want to talk to people, but it's like a community. So a lot of extroverts like that too. But I could see a switch in business where, like, let's say sales per se. An extrovert is usually great at sales. Like, they're not shy. They're good at their job. They're in the office. They're socializing. It's part of their act. As soon as it turned to COVID, it's the opposite. You're sending your people home. You have the extrovert on the phone that can't like express how they're usually good at sales. It's not the same over the phone, and just not being able to express how you like your looks. You're like, what you do. And the introverts are like, this is golden.
Yeah.
They like, I could just talk on the phone from home, not have to get out of my pajamas, and just they're probably succeeding like crazy at home. Don't have to socialize with anybody. So it's like a complete overhaul of what was successful in the industry before.
Yeah.
Because I know like a lot of people we've gotten as members that were like, at first we're working from home, we're comfortable at home. Slowly we're like, I'm going nuts. I need a membership. I know I said when COVID was done, but I need a membership now, at least like 2-3 days a week. So come in here just to get away, because I need to talk to somebody for half an hour. Like, it's crazy, and it's really putting mental health in like the forefront, where it's just like you see people's almost like everyday issues more because they're put in this awkward time in the world. Really.
Yeah, definitely. And then you have people like musicians who, I mean, it's kind of like there's introverted musicians and there's extroverted musicians for sure. But like, if a musician were to come to this place where it's like nice and open and there's actually people around, like I know a lot of musicians who like to kind of work when there's kind of buzz happening, right? That's why like we like playing shows so much. I mean, there's also the other edge of the coin where it's like people don't like to be around a lot of people,
especially when you're writing.
When
you have to focus on stuff.
But I mean, honestly, like this would be a great spot for like music. If you were like working on like little production stuff, if you were like just doing like a little
or co-writing, that would be fun.
We have some musical artists that they love nights here because it's a 24-hour facility, if you remember. So like only for members. So like it's a 9 to 5 place for non-members. We keep it open for some, like if we know the person, they're not a full-time member, but it's like we want to use the podcast studio at 8 p.m. It's like, okay, we'll get you in somehow. And but we had some members, we still have them, that are musicians that come in here, like, because artists work at weird times. Sometimes it hits at like you're sitting in your basement and it's like, God damn, I need to work on this beat right now, or write the song right now. So they come in at 11, 30 midnight and work till like 5 in the morning, and they could. And this place was their own because like how many other people are in
Well,
here?
that's what I do with Mo.
Yeah.
We're working on a music video for a song that we're releasing soon, and you know, I meet him here at 8 p.m. and there's 1 or 2 people here, and we work until like whatever 11:30. It's just brilliant.
It's so peaceful.
It's so peaceful. It's. I mean, for the creatives like us, it's just fantastic.
Yeah.
You know. But anyway, it's you know, we're talking about office stuff, and it's such an, you know, I'm just thinking about how different a world it is for musicians. It's such a different business when it comes to creativity and writing songs and creating a product and doing the entertainment. But from a media perspective, from being a media company, from editing the media, from you know, creating the content, from creating the storyboarding for what you're going to do, for producing your video, it's kind of like you have to, as a musician, treat it as if you're running a business. And
not as if,
you know, you are a business. Like, for example, something that we utilize all the time is like, okay, here's a Google Doc. What are we going to say? Here's the script. This is what we're doing. Let's create a spreadsheet. These are all the songs we're going to do. These are, you know, the hashtags that we're going to put in our posts. So I don't know. I think a place like this can really help musicians out as well, because it puts them in that zone, you know?
That's a very good point. Because like, I feel like a lot of, I mean, musicians hate the whole business.
Yeah,
like
I can't even tell you how many artists are like, I don't
know.
like, you know, customers are, you know.
It's like, but then you have people like us, where we both went to university, so we like
business school,
so we understand the importance of it. And it's just like, but you're absolutely right. Like a place like this, it kind of puts you in that mindset of like, okay, I got to get shit done.
Yeah.
Like I'm here to work. Yeah. I'm not at home where I can just maybe put a pizza pop in the oven or like,
exactly. Or you don't have to put a suit on, but when you come into a place like this where other people are working and there's computers, whatever, it's like, all right,
let's do my content strategy.
Let's do
my account. Let's do my taxes.
Let's meet with Fusion Presents here, and you know, and talk about what you're going to be creating. You have an original song coming out. How can you utilize your original song to create a whole series, a strategy around, you know, TikTok, around, you know, now the, you know, the Instagram reels and Facebook reels and YouTube reels and everybody, you know, every TikTok copycat. But you could do, I mean, it's different content as well. You know, we had a photo shoot a couple of days ago in the park with Kyla, and you know,
we work with Kyla in the apartment.
She's one of the feature artists that we're going to be releasing music with, and you know, you know, how many posts we did? Like 6 different posts using different pictures from that particular thing. So thank you, Gary V. We, you know, utilized that one moment to create all of this different content and speak to all of these different, you know, audiences out there, because they're different. It's different markets, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, we're shoving that down artists' throats all the time. You know, you're a business. Think of yourself as a business, and take yourself seriously, because nobody gives a shit about your art.
Yeah.
You know, you have to connect with the people who are going to give a shit.
Yeah.
And how do you do that? You have to research. Yeah. Who are you? What artists do stuff like what you're doing? Which fan base likes that artist's stuff? Is your stuff close enough to that artist's stuff? Well, why don't you test it with that fan base? Are you using, you know, Facebook marketing, you know, Facebook ads or whatever, Instagram ads, now TikTok? Can you do ads on TikTok? You can.
But it's like, what is your audience like? Yeah. Like, what do people that like your genre, what are they into? Do they wear Vans? Do they what kind of shirts do they wear? Exactly. Like, even knowing that, so that when you're like really niching it down, you know exactly where to target.
Hashtag Vans. There you go. Now you've got a whole bunch of well, I don't know. I mean, maybe. That's very specific. That's low. Yeah, and so that's that kind of mindset. And this is a huge thing. That we try to focus on. You know, our tagline is helping artists do what they love. But in order to do what you love, you have to take yourself super seriously. And you know, if business is taking yourself seriously, I mean, David Bowie says this. You know, I'm, you know, half the time I'm an artist, half the time I'm business. Right? Like you have to look at yourself like that, as opposed to, oh, here's a scribble on a white sheet of paper. It's art. No, it's subjectively art to you, and there might be some people that like super minimalist stuff and will think that this is worth, spending their money.
Hey, if you market that scribble properly, you get someone.
NFTs.
Hey, they used to sell pet rocks in the 80s or 70s. They had the wooden box.
Yeah.
You can sell anything.
Yeah. No.
So
I think the opportunity for like like treating an event like an open mic night, or like just a open mic night, open talent show, something like that, and marketing as a fun event but also a business meeting, in a way where nobody's like really done that before, where it's like if you guys were involved or something where you want to help people with marketing and doing their different kinds of social media posts and everything, but like bringing them to a place like here, having the show, talking to them if you think they're talented.
maybe we'll do a Sunday night jam.
That would actually be
And it's
kind of fun.
And then like kind of like take them. It's like, oh yeah, you have a lot of talent, and see the space, like you can use it for your TikTok videos, all that kind of stuff. Like I think it's just finally business is becoming more fun.
Yes, that's a great way of putting it, because like the business is starting to revolve around these platforms that everyone's becoming more familiar with. So, and you can make it fun. That's what sells. Like people are over the whole boring ways of just like white collar, like, hello, I am this person. This is what I do. Blah blah blah. It's like
We're past that time of the whole union. Get yourself a union job that gives you benefits so you can support your family. But if you want to off yourself every night, who cares? You can support your family. It's like, no, people don't realize when you're in that mind frame, you're getting the least amount of like good work out of them. And these people do 30, 40 years of the same work, and they hate it. And even the companies don't realize like they have these people that like not even knowing they're giving half the work, like giving that much effort into it because they hate it. Nobody gives effort into something they hate daily. Yeah. So it's like, and this is what our past generations were like told to do. You had to get married in your 20s, have kids in your 20s, support your family, do this. If it doesn't matter what your life, how you feel.
Get a mortgage. And
now it's just like, no, you know what? Your kid will probably be happier. It maybe you got a little bit of less stuff you buy them every day or every month, but you are happy when you come home and you're not stressed and you want to spend time with them, and you enjoyed your day because you're not doing the typical I hate my life 9 to 5. And I think more and more people are gravitating towards that. And even the whole, not saying schooling isn't needed, schooling is drastically needed. It helps in so many different ways, but you guys are musicians. You know, if there's a kid in his basement has no technical training, but he is a fucking mastermind when it comes to the music he's making. Yeah. Record labels are being like, do you have a fucking electronic music diploma?
Yeah, no.
Like, it's like that. My teachers taught me that, that was a bad thing for them to say because we had a ton of dropouts after the second semester, because it was like, one of our teachers was straight. If you're here thinking that a diploma is going to get you a bunch of work, scrap that right now. It's like, it's what you do that's going to get you noticed. It doesn't matter if you want to do movie scoring, if you have technical training or music theory background. Totally. If you create the most ridiculously good music scoring for movies, they'll pay you and they'll choose you.
It's true. That's a great point. Learning, it has to be intrinsically motivated, right? Because like those people that dropped out, they clearly didn't give a shit. Like, right? Like, obviously, or else they would have stayed. If they truly were interested in it, then they'd be like, I don't need, like, someone telling me that it's not going to get me work. I want to do this because I want to learn about it. Yeah. But I'm glad you touched on the whole, like, moving away from 9 to 5. I'm a huge, like, advocate for that kind of lifestyle and, like, people kind of finding different ways to, diversify their income and not be a slave to, like, this whole, like,
rat race.
I mean, capitalism is great on some terms, and it's also not so good on some terms. I mean, we don't have to get into that whole conversation.
That's where COVID's been a blessing for some people, man. I've met so many people that had their 9 to 5 jobs that I've interviewed in the same seats you guys are in. That are like, COVID hit, we got laid off, we had the side hustle or just a passion that we love doing that all of our lives, and then we're like, what am I going to do in my day while I'm collecting CERB? I'm going to collect CERB and try to do my passions again. Yeah. And some of them have started companies out of it and succeeding because finally it's like, okay, I have no choice but to just do what I love doing. Finally, I can do this, and now all my effort is into something I actually enjoy doing. So you're giving 110% and have more energy somehow. Yeah. Right. So, and it's people taking a shit situation and turning it into like the most positive situation they ever could, like by taking that leap of faith in yourself. Like that's what I think like more people need to do is just like that whole 20s aspect. I said 20s because that's like how it used to be. You had to know your shit down in your 20s. It's like, no, man, you know what the 20s now should be is like try to do what you like in your 20s.
Yeah, find out what you love.
Yeah, and if for some reason you're now in 35 and you've been doing that and you're like hundreds of thousands in debt or something, you try all this stuff and you're like, shit, maybe I got to pay the bills now. Like at least you had that time where you tried.
You have no regret. Exactly.
Yeah,
that's what your 20s are for. Your 20s are for trying tons of shit. I mean, that's what it's all about. I went on exchange. Like I've been trying. Like I got an accounting and finance degree, and everyone's like, oh, what firms are you applying to? Oh, I'm going to KPMG. I'm going to Deloitte. I'm going to RBC, and I'm like, sounds terrible. Like I'm just gonna take, because I love what I learned too. I still apply it to my everyday life. I just apply it to what I love. So I had that business side here.
Investing and
I can't remember where I was going
doing
exactly,
the financials for FP and where we're gonna put your money, where are we gonna invest in, what's the best what's the most realistic place to put this money that we have, for example. So it's using the same knowledge in something that you actually love doing.
That's what I was getting at, like putting it into a passion.
But you have to.
Yeah.
One of the co-founders of FP, Mo, him and I were on a call. So he's in Dubai now, and one of the reasons why I moved out here is because both of those two gentlemen that I started the company with went to the States, and I'm glad I did because Myles. But we were on the phone, and we came up with this line, which is try to leave a legacy with something that doesn't make you hollow, because so many people do. I'm going to I'm going to go work in this company, and it's a great product, and I'm going to leave a legacy, but I'm going to be a slave to it, and I'm going to look back on my life, and what do you have? Okay, so you have a house and whatever, $1 million that you're going to leave to your kid, but you were a slave and you didn't enjoy your life. Is that really what the whole point of life is? Is it to be that, like a slave to the system, and then just leave whatever money to whoever you're going to leave it to? Or are you going to try to succeed in your life by doing something that you love and doing it smartly as a business, finding out who your market is and try to get to that market, but still doing something that you love and still be able to make whatever, I don't know, $100,000 that you're going to leave to your kid? Isn't that a better life type of thing? Yeah. So I think that's a very important, that should be the shift. It goes from, I'm going to be a Wall Street person to I'm going to be, this is my life, and I'm going to take, my life. I'm going to value my own life in every single moment that I have in the day, and I'm going to do what I love as opposed to, just getting paid for doing some random shit that I don't really give a shit about. And then I dream about it even when I go home. I'm not fucking dreaming about my job. No, fuck that. Do something that you love.
Yeah, you imagine what the world would be like if everybody did what they loved, and how good the shit that would be out would be.
I'm telling you, I can't tell you how many times I've dreamt like melody lines, and I wake up and I'm recording them, and I go the next day to the studio with the voice recorder, and we've written songs based on dreams that I've had. Yeah. It's incredible. Yeah. So you got to do what you love.
Dreams, or I could get into that. Like I dabbled in, I was in hip hop production and I rapped as well. And the fact that I can't freestyle in real life, but in my dreams, it's like spot on about like dreams of being at a freestyle battle, but like in my, like it's good. Like it's actually really freaking good.
Is there a way to capture that?
How does that brain do that in your sleep? Like it blows my mind.
Full songs, dude. Full songs. Yeah, I've heard.
Yeah,
that's how you know it's within you, though, when you're unconsciously thinking about it, which is dreaming.
Is it unconscious or subconscious?
Honestly, dreams, for lack of a better term, are just fucked. Like, how do they work? Like, I don't.
It's alternate dimension or something.
Exactly.
Your spirit is in a different universe.
It's true.
I'll believe it.
There's so much that we're finding out, I think, within our lifetime, man. It's the amount of shit that's come on in like 10 years now. That's just like, and now it's like mainstream publications talking about aliens and shit, and you're like, okay, well, if they're talking about it, what is real? This is like a half-ass information that they're not releasing out the full information.
Yeah.
What do they know now?
Yeah.
Like if they're releasing this to the public.
I don't know. There are. I mean, they say single cell life obviously has to exist on other planets. Obviously,
It literally has to.
you know.
Yeah.
We're gonna go down too many.
Yeah, let's
I'm not starting on that. I wanted to do a full on like life outside of this world, like podcast, because I can talk about it forever.
We can go for round 2 if you want.
Yeah,
We'll talk about that.
We'll talk about
I love
spirituality.
philosophy.
Yeah.
I'm reading a book right now, Cosmic Queries by Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Really?
National Geographic on
Nice.
what the fuck this universe is, essentially.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just, what?
Soil samples from Mars. That's all I have to say. Go look at it. It's crazy. Like the nuclear like just
Wow.
weird. So it's just like, did we fucking destroy this a long time ago and then found Earth? Like
Scientology is real!
yeah, guys. Like,
Or is it?
I love talking to you guys, dude. It's more it's a way more casual interview lately that I've been doing.
I don't think there's any edits that need to happen.
No. How can we find you guys? Honestly, you guys are
TikTok.
We've been talking about your social media is like hard this whole time, but
Yeah.
I'll put a graphic up at the end just having like,
Sure.
all your information. But like website where can we
Sure.
find you?
FusionPresents.com, Fusion FUSION presents PRESENTS.com, or TikTok.
TikTok at Fusion Presents. We're on Instagram as well, trying to build that. We're putting more of our eggs in the TikTok basket. So there we do a bunch of guitar lessons, whether you want to learn songs or learn like little theory tricks. We also started posting covers on there. And then we also offer lessons. So if anyone wants any guitar lessons or anything, we offer those. They can go to our website for that. Or if they want any help with content creation
Or business mentorship.
or business mentorship, fusionpresents@gmail.com. Would that be the best?
Info@fusionpresents.com.
Info.
Or Sami at Fusion Presents, or Myles at Fusion
Okay, hold on. No, give them one email. You can't give 4 emails.
Info@fusionpresents.com.
There we go.
Cool.
There we
Yeah.
go.
We definitely, there's a bunch. I've done some podcasts with musicians and like local that I definitely think I should try to hook you guys up with, because there's a lot of unknown talent that never really,
Dude,
they don't know that they can
so
get
much
out of this city.
Yeah.
I have friends that like when I was doing the music, it's like this guy should have made it, and he's in his 30s now, and he just, because he's from Port Coquitlam and he's a hip hop artist, like I'll never make it. I'll just do it for fun.
Mhm.
And there's so many of those. There's so many of those that are legit. Like
Because they're stuck in artist world. Dude.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's like, you know, you're a young kid, you have some talent, people tell you that you're great, so you spend a little bit of time doing it, and then you realize, oh, nobody really gives a shit about what I'm doing. I'm gonna go get a random labor job working, doing whatever. When really you've got something that a lot of people, millions of people, actually could care about. You just have to connect with them. And it is the easiest time on earth right now with TikTok to do it.
yeah.
So, I mean, that's what we do. We
Yeah.
help artists do what they love by putting a little cap on their head, being like, okay, here's a little business hat for a moment. Take yourself out of artist mode, take yourself a little bit seriously as a provider, a media company.
Yeah.
What are you offering? What's the need that you're fulfilling?
Yeah.
And then going from there while using your art.
Yeah.
It's actually so much simpler than a lot of people think.
Yeah.
And we can help you with it. Or
Yeah.
if you just want to learn some guitar, we do that too.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome, guys. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
for coming out. We'll do another one. I like talking to you guys.
Sure. Yeah. thanks for
Definitely want to
having
work
us.
with you guys in the future. I like what you're doing. It just resonates with me because, like working with artists but not being a record label, that's huge, because there's so many greedy fucks out there.
Yeah.
There's so many people that you hear about, like multi-million-dollar like artists that have no money. Like that makes no sense, right?
Exactly.
But it happens. But yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you, Mike.
Do this again. Check out the website. Check out all the social media accounts that I put up after this. And thanks for joining us. Have a good one.